Has a stranger ever stalked your child? I was convinced this middle-aged man at the library was obsessed with my 7-year-old daughter Rosie. Every time we went for story time, he'd be there in the reading corner, watching her with this anxious look like he was waiting for something terrible to happen. The first real incident happened when Rosie was picking out books. He walked straight up to us and knelt down saying, "Does she ever talk about her dreams, the ones with water?" His voice was urgent and worried. I immediately pulled Rosie behind me and backed away. As we left, I heard him mutter, "She needs to know how to swim. She has to know." 2 weeks later, I found him sitting in his car outside Rosie's dance studio. He was just parked there when we came out from her ballet class. When he saw me notice him, he started to pull away but rolled down his window first. "Please, swimming lessons. It's important." His face looked haunted. My husband thought I was paranoid but agreed to switch libraries. It didn't matter. He found us at the bookstore downtown. This time he had a children's book about water safety that he tried to give to Rosie. It was brand new but bookmarked and highlighted throughout. I started documenting everything. The way he'd show up at the community pool during Rosie's art class next door, how he knew which school she attended. Once I caught him talking to her teacher at pickup, asking if Rosie had mentioned nightmares about drowning. The breaking point came 3 weeks later. I was walking Rosie to the car when he approached from behind and called out desperately, "Please, I know how this looks, but she needs to learn to swim. The dreams mean something. I've seen it before." His eyes were wild with fear. "Stay away from us or I'm calling the police," I shouted, rushing Rosie into the car. She was scared and confused, asking why the sad man kept following us. That night, I did file a police report, but they said without actual threats, there wasn't much they could do. The next morning, he wasn't at his usual spots. Instead, there was a woman waiting by my car after I dropped Rosie at school. She looked exhausted and apologetic. "I'm sorry about my brother Thomas. He's not dangerous, just broken. Can we talk?" She told me everything over coffee. 7 years ago, Thomas had been a camp counselor. There was a little girl named Katie who looked just like Rosie. Same dark hair, same green eyes, same quiet way of observing everything. Katie had been having nightmares about drowning for weeks before the camp trip to the lake. She told Thomas about the dreams every day, the woman said, tears in her eyes. She was scared of the water. He tried to convince the camp director to let her skip the lake activities, but they said he was being overly cautious. Katie drowned that day. She'd been playing on the dock when she slipped and hit her head. She couldn't swim. Thomas had jumped in immediately, but it was too late. The camp said it was an accident, but Thomas never forgave himself for not teaching her to swim despite her dreams. When he saw your daughter, it triggered everything. She looked so much like Katie, and when he overheard her at the library talking about a dream with water, she trailed off. He's been in therapy, but seeing Rosie brought it all back. He truly believes her dreams are a warning. I felt sick. I thought about Rosie's recent nightmares about being underwater, the ones I dismissed as typical kid fears. "Does Rosie know how to swim?" the woman asked gently. She didn't. We'd been meaning to sign her up for lessons, but kept putting it off. Rosie was scared of putting her face underwater, just like Katie had been. That afternoon, I enrolled Rosie in swimming lessons, not because I believed in prophetic dreams, but because the coincidence unsettled me. The instructor said Rosie took to it immediately, like she'd been waiting to learn. 2 months later, our family went to a beach resort. Rosie was playing in the shallow waves with her cousins when a rogue wave knocked them all down. The other kids scrambled up laughing, but Rosie got disoriented in the churning water. For 10 terrifying seconds, she was underwater, tumbling in the current, but she didn't panic. She held her breath, found her footing, and pushed up to the surface just like she'd learned. She was scared but safe, calling for me as I rushed into the water. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about Thomas, about Katie, about dreams and warnings and the thin line between paranoia and intuition. I found his sister's number and texted her, "Rosie's okay. She knew how to swim. Tell Thomas thank you." He wasn't a stalker. He was a broken man trying to save a stranger's child from a fate that existed only in his trauma. And maybe, just maybe, he'd succeeded.